Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, it's a calm start to the week in Zimbabwe, even as its former finance ministers denied bail and held in custody in the wake of the military takeover that ousted longtime leader Robert Mugabe a week ago. Also, French President Emmanuel Macron heads to Burkina Faso on the first leg of his Africa tour. We hear from our correspondent in Ouagadougou. And we head to Madagascar, which has said that the worst of its most recent plague outbreak is over. Authorities believe they've got a handle on the spread of the disease in urban areas. But first, Monday saw Zimbabwe begin its first week with a new president in almost 40 years. New leader Emmerson Mnangagwa's greenlit making February 21st, the birthday of his predecessor, a public holiday. That's despite the military intervention it took to force Robert Mugabe to step down. Now, the November 21st takeover was partly driven by mistrust of some of Mugabe's inner circle accused of graft, one of whom was former finance minister Ignatius Chombo. Now, he was charged with corruption over the weekend and on Monday was denied bail and ordered to remain in custody until his case is heard on December 8th. And Mnangagwa's appointed Patrick Chinamasa as acting finance minister until a new cabinet's in place. Mnangagwa's also promised widespread reforms in a nation left deeply scarred by 37 years of authoritarian rule by Robert Mugabe. Over the border in South Africa, Zimbabweans make up the largest migrant community. Many expats there say that they're now thinking of heading back for this new chapter in their homeland's history.
Like many of the 3 million Zimbabweans now living in South Africa, Enoch and his friends were overjoyed to see Robert Mugabe resign last week. Now the dream of returning home seems almost within reach.
Everyone, as I speak, the world over, they are confident that minus Mugabe, there's a glimmer of hope.
The majority of Zimbabweans have only known life under Mugabe. His successor, Emmerson Mnangagwa, has vowed to create jobs and get Zimbabwe's ailing economy back on track. A promise that's raised hope for Zimbabweans in South Africa. With unemployment now soaring at 27%, daily work has become increasingly hard to come by.
Zimbabwe is a small country. It will be quick for it to develop, and then all these investors must come back to Zimbabwe and get the industry rolling, and then we open up all those people. Like Lever brothers must come back to Zimbabwe.
Not everyone, though, is convinced. Mike Odendaal used to own 4 farms in Zimbabwe before Mugabe's regime seized white-owned land in 2010.
I think I'm too old to sort of put new roots down. I put roots here now after losing everything in Zimbabwe. We've got to look further and more astutely and rather invest in Zimbabwe if we have to, but not move back there.
Mugabe's resignation has ushered in a period of uncertainty. It's unclear how much Mnangagwa can accomplish ahead of next year's election.
Burkina Faso has reported that gunmen have shot a city councillor and a teacher dead in coordinated attacks in the north of the country. Sunday's assailants were reportedly riding motorbikes when they opened fire on a councilman in Dahore Remaiba near the border with Mali. A second attack followed in Yatenga province. Northern Burkina Faso has seen a ramping up of jihadist attacks over the last few years. Officials say that more than 130 people have been killed since 2015. Now, French President Emmanuel Macron is due in the country on Tuesday night. Security will no doubt be one of the issues on the agenda. Our Mark Perelman tells us more.
The French President Emmanuel Macron is beginning tonight an important visit to Africa here in Burkina Faso. He will then go to Abidjan in Ivory Coast for a summit between the African Union and the European Union, and then finish this trip in Ghana. But really the important part of this trip is here, and it's tomorrow. The French President will address the African youth during a speech at the University of Ouagadougou. It is seen really as the keynote speech for the French president. He will address the youth, and it will not be the usual speech about the relationship between France and Africa. He wants to show African youngsters that France is really interested in their future. Burkina Faso is also obviously a symbolic visit. It's a country where the longtime ruler, Blaise Compaoré, was pushed out by protests on the streets, and there is now a democratic process going on, and this is really an example for many countries on the continent. It is also a country struck by terrorism. You can see behind me the Hotel Splendid, which was struck by a terrorist attack back in January of 2016. Ouagadougou was again the target of a terrorist attack this past August, so clearly a highly symbolic visit by the French president beginning tonight.
Well, as Mark mentioned there, as well as talks with Burkina Faso's political elite, Emmanuel Macron is due at the University of Ouagadougou to speak to students there. Our correspondents in the country have spoken to some of the pupils looking ahead to the president's talk.
For his first major speech in Africa, Emmanuel Macron's chosen Ouagadougou's Joseph Kizerbo University. His speech will focus on the youth of the continent, a generation that seems eager to meet the French president.
I think it's a joy for us to see President Macron. It's a joy for us because we know that his visit will change a lot of things at the university.
I would like for President Macron to take the time to listen to our Burkinabe brothers and to try and find ways to solve the problem of terrorism in the Sahel.
Elsewhere on campus, these biology students are particularly impatient to meet the French president and for the chance to express their discontent with his CFA franc.
Things aren't going well in francophone countries that use the CFA franc. We're all behind. He must try to solve this problem. It's true that he has only just been elected. He's quite new, but if he could give us our own currency, Africa's own currency, that's what we want.
But the president of the university is reassuring about any possible altercations.
We're working together with various student groups so that President Macron will receive a warm welcome and he'll be able to deliver his message in good conditions.
The African Union Amphitheatre is expected to be full to its nearly 1,000-seat capacity. Emmanuel Macron's speech is widely awaited as it will be part of the first official visit of a French president to the country since 1986, when François Mitterrand visited Burkina Faso.
Well, Madagascar said that the worst of its most recent plague outbreak is over. Authorities believe that they've got a handle on the spread of the disease in urban areas after having ramped up efforts at the end of September. Nevertheless, over 3 months, at least 202 people died and over 2,300 cases recorded. Our Gael Borja tells us more.
It took 3 months to contain this unprecedented outbreak. The Prime Minister admitted that the speed with which the illness spread took the country by surprise and that mistakes had probably been made. A plague is endemic to Madagascar, and the government faced criticism for waiting too long to launch the national response to the annual outbreak. This time, everyone was caught off guard. The bubonic form rapidly evolved into the more deadly pneumonic form and became rapidly difficult to contain after it spread to urban areas. The worst of the outbreak is over, but the Prime Minister on Monday warned that more cases are expected.
Given the last confirmed case was on the 3rd of November 2017, I declare the end of the plague outbreak in urban areas. Nevertheless, we have to remain watchful because plague season continues until April 2018.
In the bid to find a long-term solution to the annual outbreak, their plan is to create a permanent body to oversee efforts to eliminate the disease in Madagascar.
Gael Borja there for us. And the Congolese winners of the African Confederation Cup are blaming an arduous detour in their bid to return home on political tensions between the club's owner and current President Joseph Kabila. Now, TP Mazembe's fans had been expecting to greet the football squad in Lubumbashi as they flew in fresh from their victory over South Africa's Supersort United in Johannesburg. But Monday's flight was delayed by 10 hours. The team was forced to fly to Zambia and complete the trip by road. The reason for the rerouting isn't clear. TP Mazembe's owner, Moise Katumbi, is a leading opposition figure to Congolese President Joseph Kabila. Well, South African contestant Demi Lee Nel-Peters spoke out about sexual harassment as she accepted the crown for Miss Universe in Las Vegas on Sunday. The 22-year-old business management graduate called on women to stand together in combating inappropriate behaviour they might witness, wherever it might be. She took the title in a competition which saw 92 women from around the world participate. That's it for Eye on Africa. Thanks very much for joining us. Do so again. Take care.